So recently on Discord, someone was having an issue doing a pan and scan of a video element in their comp where they were using a mask of the video to counteract the movement of the position of the video footage. This is called a pan and scan. The pan and scan term comes from the old TV days where the TVs had a 4:3 aspect ratio and they had to fit a widescreen film onto them, but they had to choose their frame so they would move the film back and forth. Sometimes you would see a really janky transition from left to right as they tried to follow the action in the frame. There's a lot of examples on YouTube. I'll put some in the description, and ask your parents or grandparents, I guess, they'll be able to tell you all about it. But this technique applies to modern filmmaking as well, where we overshoot our frames like in 8K or 4K, and then we choose our frame later so we can zoom in and follow the action without having to do too much camera work. We can capture everything we want and then choose our frame later. So this technique still applies a lot of times. So one solution, I had to do this recently for this little clip here. I had to verticalize a horizontal video, and I had to follow some action from side to side, and I had to, pan it over as the action moved to capture, to stay with it. And I actually went through this I hadn't done it in a long time, so I went through this process as well, where I used a mask first. Like that might be the first idea you might think of when you're trying to see just a part of the video and you want to move it around. You might think, yeah, a mask will do what I needed to do. But just to demonstrate it, what I have here is just an old time lapse of mine from a long time ago. And we're just going to focus on seeing this part of the frame. We want to pan and zoom from one interesting spot to the other. And I'm going to show you, well, you can use a mask. I have a mask loaded right now on this layer. And you can see the motion that tracks with it. So as the video tracks in the background, the mask stays generally in the same spot with it. This, it can be done. It's a total pain. And when it breaks, I'll show you my... Here we go. There's my guides. It breaks when you introduce scaling to the video. Because the mask is like a child of the layer of the video, when you try to introduce a scaling difference, say if we wanted to, when we got to this point, we want to zoom in, you can see the mask fly right off the screen there. We'll come back here and we'll return to this last frame. So it'll come back. So all we have to do is fix the center and then easy ease all of the keyframes. We'll come back here. We'll try to set this mask back where it needs to go. One thing I noticed is that when you're doing a mask, when you're moving it around, it doesn't snap to guides. So that's another point of failure where it's just going to be harder. I guess the individual nodes do. So I guess that worked. But you're going to see as the scale comes in, the interpolation, the Bezier curves are going to mismatch with the mask and the motion of the video itself. It's going to blow out of the frame. You're going to, you could go in between each time and then resize it to fit it in, but oh my god, that would take forever. That's just a nightmare, and it still pops in and out. So it's obviously the wrong solution if you're going to be doing panning and scanning and zooming in your footage into a single spot on your frame where you just want to show it. So the best solution in order to keep your mask into one space and let your video footage or whatever you're showing behind it float around, zoom around as much as you want, and have your frame stay in the same spot is to use a track matte. Track matte is I'm using a solid layer. You can use art, you can use vector graphics, pretty much anything. And it just behaves as the mask for the layer below it. On the layer below it, you select to use track matte. I'm just going to use the alpha for this track matte. So now all you see is what's underneath the track matte, and then as I move the video around inside, the mask stays exactly where it should be. And that includes scaling. You know, you can set your keyframes, do whatever you need to do to show off whatever it is you want to show off in the frame. And you don't have to worry about the mask roving around. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this little tip. So I hope this helps. It took me a minute to remember how to do it. Good luck. Happy creating.